Hi, I'm Pete Gallivan. This week on News to Celebrate, a cruise ship docks in Buffalo for the first time in decades, marking a major milestone for the city's waterfront. Plus, a four-legged friend helps bring comfort to local first responders through some of their toughest days. And from a dream to reality, realizing Lucy's legacy at the National Comedy Center in Jamestown. News to Celebrate this week starts now.
I'm Elena. I want to become an anesthesiologist.
My name is Japa and I want to be a neuroscientist. My name is Tupa and I want to be on the Supreme Court.
Those dreams are being nurtured inside Buffalo Prep, an academic enrichment program helping low and moderate income students overcome barriers to education and change the trajectory of their lives.
Students come to us after school all day on Saturdays, all summer to get ahead in their academics, to have that educational equity and the same opportunities that, my children were afforded.
Patty Stephen has led the organization for nearly a decade.
We know that by providing opportunities and access to quality education, our scholars can do anything. They don't need to become smarter. They are brilliant, and so that's why we believe all we're doing is illuminating brilliance.
The results speak for themselves. 100% of Buffalo Prep scholars graduate high school, and 84% earn their bachelor's degree on time or are on track to do so, far outpacing national averages. But Patty's passion for this work comes from her own story.
I did grow up in foster care in the Erie County foster care system.
She says as a teen, she faced homelessness and moved between 5 high schools.
And so I really didn't have the opportunity to be a good student. And so I ultimately ended up graduating with my GED when I was pregnant with my first son from Bennett Night School.
Now she uses those experiences to connect with scholars facing their own challenges.
You're going to do amazing. When I think about my educational journey, I think it's just from so many amazing people always supporting me, and I just try to be that for other people now any way that I can.
And students say she does exactly that.
She's very sweet, she's kind, she's my favorite.
She will drop anything that she's doing to really be there for you.
Every great organization is a reflection of their leader, and Buffalo Prep has been successful because of Patty Stephen.
This summer, Patty will step down as executive director, handing the role to David Johnson, who says he hopes to continue her mission of breaking down systemic barriers through education.
And to continue to inspire our youngers to see endless possibilities.
David and the scholars and their families credit Patty Stephen with changing lives, but she sees it differently.
I feel really grateful more than I feel like I made an impact. I feel really grateful for the impact that prep has had on me.
For the selfless among us, Melissa Holmes, Channel 2 News.
She no sooner sat down for our interview when Anya Deshane noticed something askew.
Let me just fix this.
After dutifully straightening out some items with an attention to detail that's become her hallmark,
I would definitely put more stuff out from that cooler.
she was ready, although we weren't entirely convinced.
You're not going to be able to stop doing this. Who are you kidding?
I know.
But the truth is, she is ready.
There becomes a time where you just feel ready, and I am just ready to take a break. From the everyday grind.
Dating back to the Broadway market days, Anya was a staple of the business founded by her parents in 1987 and which she took over 10 years ago.
Overall things have changed, right? We've seen so many different bakeries close from, Renee's Bakery, Dessert Deli, Walter's. So many wonderful bakeries have closed over the years.
Amid rising prices, consumers may grumble but still pay up for staples. But maybe not so much for treats, no matter how good they may be.
People are definitely a little more cost conscious. That is not the reason why we're closing, but if we want to talk business, absolutely, that makes it a little more difficult for smaller businesses as ours.
The primary reason, she says, is family. Her mom is getting on in years. She has 2 grown sons, neither of whom is interested in taking over, and a 3rd grandchild on the way, all of whom she'd like to spend more time with. The burning question:
what happens to all the secret krishiki recipes then?
They are staying in my pocket.
Or not. She confirmed there are bakeries interested in possibly licensing those recipes. If not, she may publish a cookbook. The future is wide open, although we did confirm one thing that will not be in the offing.
I can't see you with a food truck.
No food truck.
Sunday is the last day for Krishiki's last store in the Delavan Hotel on Transit Road.
On your side in Depew, Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.
From funk to country, to blues, to jazz, to Latin. We have it all. It's just going to be fabulous.
As construction continues at Ralph Wilson Park, the vice chair of the Conservancy says the park will host the Levitt Vibe Buffalo Music Series. The concerts will be held near Centennial Pool and the Buffalo Skate Park. Malcolm says several nonprofits helped make this possible.
The Big Easy of Buffalo was instrumental, and one of our first partners that made sure that we got enough votes to make this even happen. So we want to put a big thank you and a shout out to the Big Easy of Buffalo, of course the Puerto Rican Parade, and then Buffalo Funk Festival.
All of the shows will be free to attend. Malcolm says she hopes these concerts will draw the community to Ralph Wilson Park, adding she believes this programming will continue for years to come, as the updated park will bring more people to Buffalo's waterfront.
We've kept the community engaged, and so we know that music, I'm part of the Buffalo Funk Fest. I was involved in supported the Puerto Rican parade and music. Music has been a really big part of this park, so we want to just make sure that it always is.
Great Lakes cruise ship travel returns to the region. This 9-day voyage started in Syracuse and made several stops across New York State before arriving here in Buffalo on Thursday.
I wanted to check out this area of the country because we've been to the southern ones, to the southern cruises, and next month we want to go to this Columbia Snake River cruise. So just different areas I wanted to check out.
I come from California, and that's hurry, stand in line and wait. And here, you didn't have to do that, and I appreciated that. It was more like country, nice, sweet people.
Local leaders say this is only the beginning. Construction of a new, larger cruise port at the outer harbor is set to begin this summer, as the city looks to attract even more visitors.
And the City of Buffalo did a wonderful job of helping us find this temporary location for 2026 and possibly next year. But, you know, I think our new terminal out in the outer harbor is being designed, and we're being worked with a number of the cruise lines to make sure that we can receive them at any level.
The president of Visit Buffalo says this year 7 cruise ships will come to western New York, and this could bring about $1 million into the local economy.
I think with all the new infrastructure that's taking place at Canal Side as well as the outer harbor, creating this really welcoming place with our waterfront. A lot of people don't realize that Buffalo is a waterfront city. I think this really proves it now.
On your side in Buffalo, Chelsea Swift, Channel 2 News.
Well, Memorial Day certainly marks the traditional start of gardening season, but this year, getting to this point took a little bit of patience for most of us. Weeks of heavy rain and flooding left many Western New York gardeners stuck on the sidelines. Channel 2's Nate Mills has the story of one greenhouse owner staying positive and why the best may still be to come.
It was a spring that tested even the most dedicated gardeners. Relentless rain, saturated soil, flooded beds. Western New York's growing season got off to one of its toughest starts in recent memory.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster with the weather. A week and a half ago, we're covering stuff up, and now it hasn't stopped raining. It's affected us, obviously, but people are anxious, and with the sunshine today, it was a steady business all day today, and they're anxious to do their planting.
But Memorial Day has arrived, and with it, a stretch of warm, dry weather that's bringing gardeners back out. At Seneca Greenhouse, the holiday weekend feels like a fresh start.
That's the benchmark. You know, everyone's grandpa always said plant Memorial Day, and that's what people are focused on. And we've had some aisles that were jammed up, and we have a lot of stuff outside, and some of the aisles are a little wet from the rain, but everyone's like, hey, I'm a gardener. It's okay to have wet feet.
This wet spring impacted certain plants a little harder than others. Things like vegetables and seasonals were especially impacted by the waterlogged roots caused by the rain. But store owner Rick Flett says that gardeners shouldn't panic. Now, greenhouse employees say patience is key, but even if you need to hold off, there's some things you can do to prepare before the time is right for your garden.
Do window boxes and pots, but you gotta wait to do plant in the ground, of course. But the weeds come out easier, right? So can get preparation done, but gotta wait to plant.
And no matter what, even if there's some more wet weather, the greenhouse staff says your patience will be rewarded.
Oh, we just tell them to stay positive. It's gonna change. It's gonna all be good, and it's all gonna work out.
Reporting on your side from West Seneca, I'm Nate Mills with Channel 2 News.
The National Comedy Center. It started out as a dream.
I think the reason we've been successful in major collection acquisitions is that we're doing this for the right reasons and that it's important work.
The dream of comic icon Lucille Ball, that her hometown would become a global destination for comedy.
It started with the collection of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, and then acquiring George Carlin's archives in 2016 before opening the National Comedy Center in 2018.
It all came together in 2018 and received official status the next year when Congress designated the National Comedy Center as the United States official cultural institution and museum dedicated to presenting the vital story of comedy and preserving its heritage for future generations. And starting out with the George Carlin archives already in its collection gave the museum immediate legitimacy. For Executive Director Journey Gunderson, taking stewardship of comedic history is a big responsibility.
A lot of the success of the National Archive growing in the way it has is a result of building relationships and building trust with estates, with the comedy community. There's also an urgency to conservation, and we have a qualified team of people to do that.
A team that continues to conserve and creatively display some of the best work from the most amazing minds in comedy.
And since then, we've seen acquisitions including Carl Reiner, Joan Rivers, Johnny Carson, collections from shows like Saturday Night Live and In Living Color. The fact that now we are marking the acquisition of Mel Brooks' archives and that we can say that future generations can learn from his genius, that is exactly what we set out to do.
For many people, it's a collection of laughs, escapism through parody or satire, or looking at the world through an often ridiculous scope. But the mission here is to treat comedy as the important art form that it truly is.
And that was the impetus for her vision that there should be a place that celebrates comedy and give it the reverence that it deserves on par with classical and traditional art forms. And it makes me proud that we have done that and we've established that here in her hometown.
This is KISS 98.5.
Janet.
What you guys have done is special.
You know the team, Janet and Nick in the morning and Wheeze.
So tomorrow will be the last show with a lot, like today's been fun, tomorrow, epic.
How does it feel?
Amazing.
Can you believe it's been how many years?
32. 32 years as Janet, Nick, and Wheeze on KISS 98.5.
It's a team that connected with Buffalo. So many moments from the celeb interviews.
When you get to talk to Taylor Swift, when you get to talk to Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, Dua Lipa, you don't forget that.
And she won't forget this.
The charities we've helped. When we've talked to people that are in the throes of a life-changing, devastating event, and they share their story to help others. That's as powerful and as meaningful as anything.
A Western New York native, and when asked what she wants most for Buffalo,
I'm so glad you asked me that, because I know he's in town. Josh, a Super Bowl. That's all. That's all. Oh, wait, one more. Lindy. See, he's texting right now. Lindy, the cup.
Janet Snyder will not have to wake up at 4 a.m. She's ready for what she calls an adult gap year. No regrets.
This has been a career that is a dream.
And now she has time for family and life. On your side with
KISS 98.5, it's Janet and Nick on this Thursday morning.
Claudine Ewing, Channel 2 News.
Oh, we're on the right side.
Well, some high school sports teams, they spend years just trying to reach the state tournament. Well, Clarence Flag Football has done it every single year since the program was created. The Red Devils are back again this year, and this time they say they have something to prove. Nate Mills has the story.
Since the team's inception in 2022, Clarence Flag Football has been the standard in Section 6. The team is led by former tackle football coach Mark Lair and is full of multi-sport athletes. The Red Devils' dominance in Western New York inspires other teams around the entire state.
Sometimes when we play other teams, I'll even say to the girls, you're going to see an offense that looks very similar to ours or a defensive scheme that looks very similar to ours. And that's a compliment, and we know that.
I mean, I know our team is talked about a good amount in Western New York because we've really built that team up from the ground.
in the past 4 years we've been very successful, so I hope we set that standard.
4 section titles in 4 years. At this point, reaching states is the bare minimum for the Red Devils, although they want to do a little bit more than set the standard in the regular season, as they're the #1 ranked team in the state in Class B, especially after the bad taste that was left in their mouth after last year's playoffs.
I think we all want it way more than we did last year, considering how the score was last year and how much talking they were doing afterwards. We all want to make it.
After the heartbreak of last year's state playoffs loss, the entire team knows what's at stake in round 1 this year.
The biggest thing I've said to him is, that opportunities don't come around all the time like this, and they've got a great opportunity in front of them to go out and play their best football at the end of the season, and that's what I've encouraged them to do. Fantastic cutting, Allie.
It's definitely more of our revenge game since we lost this team last year. I think we're more prepared and we're more ready, especially. But I think we're all looking forward to it.
The Red Devils head to Rochester on Wednesday for the state sub-regionals against Webster Schroeder at 7:30 p.m. Reporting on your side from Clarence High School, I'm Nate Mills with Channel 2 News.
I took my son to college, and he obviously is, my life.
To get through life's toughest moments, sometimes you need a helping hand, or in this case, a helping paw.
Laid down in bed with me that night to get me through because, my son is everything for me. So for him to get me through that situation, I knew he was right for the job.
Roscoe is certainly offering comfort to Scott Karaszewski.
Just a bundle of love, that's all he is.
Come here, Roscoe. And that bundle of love has now found himself lending a helping paw to even more people.
You don't even have to talk. The dog's here for pets. The dog will never talk and share your story. I'll never share your story.
Roscoe has become an essential source of comfort. Thank you. For first responders.
Police, fire, EMS, AMR, we're all here to support all of our responders and be able to help them get through, a bad call or a bad situation that they might be dealing with.
No questions asked. No matter the situation, this team is there.
It's a very humbling experience when, you're able to sit with the men and women. You can be empathetic because most of the time you've kind of experienced something similar. Everybody reacts a little bit differently, but that's why we were given 2 years, right? We do a lot of listening.
Because sometimes
Roscoe,
the ones who help us and carry us through don't always walk on 2 legs.
come here, Roscoe.
They walk on 4.
No paycheck can replace the joy that this dog, brings to people, and it's just an amazing thing to witness.
On your side in Buffalo, Courtney Courtright, Channel 2 News.
Tonight, people across western New York, they are still talking and buzzing about a bright flash that lit up the early skies this morning. Viewers reached out to 2 on your side, reporting a loud boom and a possible meteor. Channel 2's Alyssa Clausell spoke with the Buffalo Museum of Science about what people saw today.
Hey there, well, it wasn't a bird, it wasn't a plane, but according to a science expert here at the Buffalo Science Museum, it was likely a meteor.
It's the start to a Hollywood disaster movie. A quiet morning, and then a sudden boom.
Think back like the dinosaurs, everybody's waiting for that extinction level event.
But according to Tim Collins, a research associate in astronomy at the Buffalo Science Museum, our 5 a.m. wake-up call from space was nowhere near that.
What we saw was a meteor, which is essentially a space rock that has entered Earth's atmosphere, and it's burning up and disintegrating as it gets through.
Many viewers sharing their experience with us online, sharing these videos from doorbell cameras. Some saying they saw it, a few felt it, and others heard it.
The sound comes because that meteor is now coming back across the sound barrier, so it travels faster than the speed of sound. So what you heard was a sonic boom.
And if you're wondering if the rock compares to anything in the Science Museum's collection,
This one will probably not be much larger than a basketball when all is said and done. It was probably very small.
we'll have to wait a few days to know for sure.
Now, if you attempt to look for where that meteor actually landed, you likely won't find a big crater or a big rock somewhere. Scientists say that it likely ended up just exploding in the air and disintegrating into small pieces. On your side, Alyssa Clausell, Channel 2 News.
We're at Das Haus German Heritage Museum, Wheatfield, Route 429, right? John, we talked about this. So many Western New Yorkers are part German. Yes. Both of my grandpas were Irish. Both of my grandmothers were German.
I'm 100%.
100%, John Schultz, for goodness sakes.
My mother's maiden name was Schultz.
Oh, there you go. Coincidence. All right, so the Lutherans came here from Germany. Why?
For religious persecution. There was a state church, and they did not agree with all the tenets of the state church. And on top of that, they had to have approved state schools to go to for their kids.
So they came to the promise of America.
That's correct.
And why? How did they end up in western Niagara County?
They wanted to get cheap land, frankly, and they went to the end of the line, which in that case was the terminus of the Erie Canal.
Wonderful. And so they've made a community, and the community is still, a lot of it's intact here.
It really is. There's 3 villages that they started. Village is incorrect, but hamlets of Burkholtz, Walmore, and Martinsville.
Tell me, how many buildings are on the campus here?
3 buildings, Das Haus, the Ein House, which is this, which means one house, and that's 2/3 of it was human occupation, and the other third was animals.
Inside tells a story.
Correct. And then the 3rd building was for research. We do a lot of research here and stuff.
Tell me about Das Haus.
Das Haus was a log cabin that was constructed by, we think, the people that dug the big ditch at the end of the Erie Canal. Irish guys.
You get school groups and stuff in here? Or
we
senior
do,
groups?
every year, yeah.
It's fascinating, especially for anybody that's German.
Oh, yeah. And I get tons of calls, saying because Roots is so popular now. I think my great-grandparents passed through Burkholtz for a generation. Can you look them up for me?
Yeah, interesting. Well, if people get in touch with their ancestry, if you want to get in touch with the German emigration to Western New York and its influence on the Buffalo and Niagara Falls area, dashausmuseum.org is the website. And again, we are in Wheatfield. On your side in Niagara County, I'm Kevin O'Neill, Channel 2 News.
And that's what a first national title in program history sounds like for the SUNY Niagara Thunderwolves, a team beating 3-time defending champs Rowan College last night to win the NJCAA World Series in Johnson City, Tennessee. First time ever the SUNY Niagara baseball team is national champs, just the 4th national title in any sport for the Thunderwolves athletic program. So a big night down in Tennessee for SUNY Niagara.
Celebrating Western New York and the new addition at the Buffalo Zoo. Check it out. The zoo just welcomed a baby black howler monkey. No name yet for this little one, but it's the first baby born to first-time parents Rio and Tater. It was born back on April 20th, and you'll be able to see it on exhibit each and every day until noon. Zoo officials say to look close because the baby has been sticking to mama's side and usually clings to her belly. Black howler monkeys are considered near threatened, so officials say this is one step closer to helping protect the species.
And that's news to celebrate this week, where the stories bringing Western New York together are always worth cheering for. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.